Welcome back to the third segment as we're talking about the demand for health. We're going to get into just spend a few minutes to kind of wind this up, talking about factors affecting health investments. And again, we're talking about health investments. As I said earlier, everybody's born with a certain level of health status or health stock or health capital, kind of depending on what terminology you want to use. And as we move through life, we start reaching those points where it starts to depreciate, and the older you get, it starts to depreciate kind of at an increasing rate. So as you might expect, one of the factors affecting your health investments is your age. And as we get older, and I see numbers thrown around by the economists that 80% of the expense of healthcare for individuals is may be seen and typically in the last 6 to 8 months of life. So that's as you get older and you start, your health status starts to deteriorate and your net investment starts to decline, then you're going to start having to spend more of your disposable income or your budget on healthcare goods and services. And it takes more, just in general, it takes more resources to maintain your health status. And then there's that struggle between, on your budgetary constraints, how much do you spend on health and how much do you spend on other consumer goods? And if you think about it, especially once you get into the Medicare age range, and you can either sign up for traditional Medicare or you can get a Medicare Advantage plan through a health plan. Some of those Medicare Advantage plans have, as I said earlier, they have to keep you healthy and active. They give you free memberships to gyms. They call it a silver sneaker type deal. There is the opportunity, based on certain episodic issues with your health, that you can get additional money for like healthy eating through some of these outfits. Some of these health plans will give you some dollars on a quarterly basis for over-the-counter type drugs. So there's some discounts that seniors get, and especially seniors get discounts at some like fast food restaurants, which if you talk to the population health gurus at a health plan, they'll be the first to tell you to stay away from fast food. But the senior discounts changes the relative pricing between the two when we're talking about health investment and investment in other consumer goods. And the substitution effect shifts to health investments until the marginal cost of investing in minimal health to stay alive is prohibitive. And at some points, individuals could end up in a situation they just don't have enough financial funds to continue to try to optimize their health status. And then one of the other factors that Dewar's text just talks about education. And education, it says more highly educated individuals are more efficient at producing health. So the more educated you are and the more knowledgeable you are, at least in theory, you should be better able to maintain your health status. You should be able to minimize the depreciation on your health status as you go out and as you age as an individual. And it says education is correlated with a lower rate of health depreciation, which again, at least in theory, it's correlated with it. And an increase in education increases the demand for health, the demand for your health status. So the higher educated you are, at least in theory, the more demand that you're going to generate for health status. And then the text talks about education drives time preferences, discounting the future. Preoccupied with the present lowers the investment in education and health. So I think where they're going there is they're talking about if your long-run strategy is to use population health and healthy choices, and maybe your low-income families are going to maximize these healthy family benefits that are out there that are provided by the government to try to help build that health status. But if you're at a higher income bracket, you may find yourself spending more time trying to, again, goes back to your wage rate, spending more time trying to earn a living, trying to provide the financial wherewithal for your family, and you start to not worry about your diet. You start going to the gym, you don't have time. You stop being concerned in the short run, because we're looking at that instant gratification and instant utility from earning more and more income, so you can provide more and more, let's say, commodities, or maybe a higher budgetary level for your family. So you start to move away from some of those things that are going to help you as an individual develop a greater level of health status. And then text also talks about lifestyle may shift as individuals become wealthier. Again, just what I talked about. Start eating foods that maybe not are healthy for you. Rather than getting up and eating healthy breakfast, you're in a hurry to get to work. You swing in Starbucks and get you a cup of coffee and I don't know what other kind of food. I think Starbucks sells. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't go to Starbucks, but I think they sell sandwiches and pastries and things. So, and then you start having excuses for not going to the gym. It's like, I got to work on this project. I'm not going to be able to go to the gym today. And then the next day I got this other project I've got to work on. I can't go to the gym today. And the next day, same thing. I've got all of these projects that I've got to get done. I've got to get, to the company because it drives my salary. It drives my wage rate. And you start losing out on lifestyle changes. Also, you've got, on your lifestyle changes, you've got inflation issues. The higher inflation goes up, you find yourself maybe rather than going to the grocery, maybe it's cheaper to go to Wendy's and eat on the way home, or go to McDonald's or Crystal or White Castle or some of those type fast food places in Nashville. And if I stop and think about it, I've been to the cafeteria a time or two at Fisk, and you go into the cafeteria for lunch, and I don't remember what it was, $8 or $8.50. And I'm looking around, and they've got a salad bar, they've got some healthy choices, and from a lifestyle perspective, as far as diet and things, the cafeteria didn't look bad to me. It actually looked like a pretty reasonable choice. And for $8, that marginal cost, it actually may, I don't know whether I want to say eliminate the need for home cooked meals, but it would certainly give you something to think about, because you could spend $8 at the cafeteria, and if nothing else, just eat at the salad bar and get some protein, chicken or beef or something, and then turn around, and rather than having to go home and cook dinner, you can spend that time going to the gym. There's also factors, affecting the health investments. They talk about negative relationship with upturns in the economy and healthiness, high inflation or low income countries. So we've talked about the high inflation, upturn in the economy, GDP is rising. You have higher inflation, prices are going up. You're starting to look at low cost options. Again, I live in Atlanta, and I can, for lunch, rather than, cooking lunch, I can go to Costco and get a hot dog and a Coke. I think it's $1.50. Or I can go to Costco and get a Coke and a slice of pizza, and it's going to be less than $3. And that's, at that point, it's difficult to rationalize from a budgetary perspective. Rather than spending $1.50 at Costco, having to sit down and cook a meal, I could go to Costco, get my hot dog and a Coke, stop by the gym, work out, come back home, and I'm good to go. So it all depends on your style of life and your lifestyle changes. And when they talk about the low income countries, they have that, what they need is greater access to health status maximizing plans, or greater access to medical care. And that's where the WHO and doctors across borders or Doctors Without Borders, that's where they come into play to try to help these low-income countries. And then a couple of other comments that they make in the book. They talk about chemical dependency. You may shift things to addiction substitutes for health investment and depreciation of health status. And it, definitely will cause a depreciation in the health status. And the short-term horizon, they talk about utility producing addictive drugs. So, and, I don't know enough about drugs to make too many comments on them. So, but supposedly individuals that are addicted to drugs, it is a true utility maximizer for them. The euphoria from the drug, and it's maybe not the same euphoria that supposedly long distance runners get when they're out running, but there's a euphoria with alcohol and drugs and tobacco use. And so, but those are short-term euphoria. And the more you engage in those in the short run, think of what it does to your health status and your depreciation of health status over time. And then lastly, economists view the demand for health to be an investment decision in a very uncertain environment. And I don't think anybody can argue with that. We're living right now in an extremely uncertain economy. As we talked earlier, health status, seeking medical care, just the overall umbrella of healthcare, it's an extremely uncertain process because of the inability to predict the utilization of medical care and the inability to predict the impact, especially from external services that are going to play a major role in how you manage or how you optimize the potential number of healthy days throughout your lifetime. With that, we're going to pause this session, and the next time we talk, we're going to be we're going to switch from the demand for health to the demand for healthcare. So hope to talk to you soon. Thanks for joining, and hope you enjoyed this.